The thing with the routers is that with these, a lot of them, you've got to be able to get to your power switch and your variable speed dial. And somebody says, why would I want a variable speed router? Well, yeah, you always want a variable speed router for a router table. To have a single speed router is just asking for all kinds of trouble, because you adjust the speed to the diameter of your bit. So if you were running, say, a 1-inch bit of some sort and you're just plowing a groove, well, that's fine. You can run that at high speed at 25,000 or so, that's great. But if you're doing a 3.5-inch panel raiser, you don't want to run that at that speed. It's going to be like a helicopter there ready to take off, and it'll scare you to death. So I wouldn't advise that. So you want to slow those down to the slowest speed you can get on your router, typically around 10, 12,000. If you can go even slower than that, it's great. So somewhere in that neighborhood. You can vary a little bit within that just based on your wood species, but you kind of really want to make sure you get that speed. Yes, sir? So it's a good point. So this is a Porter Cable 890. You probably have the 690 then if you're getting them with the numbers, or maybe, yeah. So when you look on their dial, and it's got the actual RPM markings, so it gives you an idea. And it may not have them every single one, but it's got enough range that you can say, okay, there's 16,000, there's 23,000. So you can kind of, if you're looking for 20, you can kind of gauge about where you are in the middle there. So it gives you the actual RPM ratings. That's a great thing to have. If you look on the Bosch router, I'm on 3. So what's 3? You know, there's 1. Is 1 high or is that low? So, you know, you end up going 1 to 6 and you don't know what that is. So you look and you're like, well, where's the information? Where does it tell me what's 1 to 6 mean? It doesn't tell you anywhere. It tells you in the manual. So you can get your manual out and look at it and then know. Or if you'll just do like probably most people, you'll get it under the router and you'll sit there and you'll kind of turn it like that. Oh, that sounds about right. That's kind of how sometimes you end up doing that. So that is a critical point there. The Milwaukee router and a couple of others have the same kind of things where their dial is numbered 1 to 6, but right beside there they've got a chart then that tells you what 1 is, the speed range of what 1 means and what 6 means and that. So it's equated, so it's right there. Now if that's upside down in a router table, you know, you kind of got to look and study it a little bit and see, is that right? You know, kind of, so you get the feel for it. Generally, the higher the number, the higher the RPM. So I've been after them a little bit. It seems like a simple change to make, but they probably made like a million of these speed dials and they just don't want to go back and change them. So, and the Porter Cable 7518, the big 3-horse router that a lot of people use in their router tables, it has 5 speeds on it. So it's not variable, but it just has 5 speeds. It has a slide switch here, and the speed ratings are written up here in actual RPMs. But when you're on a router table like that, and you're wanting to adjust speed, and you look down there and you're like, there's the switch, okay. There again, you have to get down on your knees and look up underneath to see the numbers again. So you're kind of, again, going, well, that sounds right. There's the high, there's the low, and until you get used to it, you kind of do that. So it's a little guesswork. Not real precise. I wish they would change that. But yeah, that's one of the things. Make sure you can get to those controls, because you really need to be able to control the speed to adjust it to the bit size that you're using. That's really, really critical.